Yes, welcome back, people. Big up to everybody that's in the chat already. Big up for all of you watching live and, of course, watching on Catch Up. 12th man's back. I'm looking forward to this one because I've got a good panel tonight, and this always gets spicy and it gets heated when these three are together. I can't believe that it's gone to the stage where this has just fallen into place tonight, but we'll go with it. There's actually news from all of the clubs that is on this panel today, so it should be a good show. Big up to Billy. Big up to Lawless. Big up to D. I hope you're all good, boys. It's been a while since you've all shared a platform, right? It feels too long.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time it was all on here together, to be honest with you.
Me and Billy were on for the Southgate. Lawless, God knows what he's been doing for the last 6
What do you mean? I was on flipping London calling all London.
London's calling.
No, I can't remember the
This
only
is
show that
London.
I'm
This
on.
is London.
This is
What
what
you guys
the
talking about?
season does.
That is a good shot. That is a good song, by the way. London is calling.
Yeah,
I must say. But listen, it's maybe we should have picked that instead of North London Forever. You know, then we might not have got a lot of hate like we have over the last few years.
To be fair, actually, West Ham always at Upton Park. We played that before the start of the game. So,
did you do it while you started blowing bubbles everywhere?
No, that was before the bubbles. That was before. Listen, I just see a clip of a video in the preseason tour. We've got a big bus driving through Tampa with a bubble machine, shooting bubbles into the streets of Tampa.
Liquid.
Are you embarrassed by it? Are you a bit embarrassed by it?
English football. Just stay over in America, innit? Just don't come.
I remember in 2016 we had this interview. The Japanese media, and they was like fascinated by the bubbles. There was all the questions were about the bubbles. They were like, "It's a big,
mate, fascination." Oh, great! The bubbles are coming. Jeez, what are these? Whoa, bubbles!
Says something when the bubbles are more interesting than the football club.
Yeah, than the actual football.
Oh yeah. This is the club.
Have a bubble bus hired out though. Like, what's the purpose of that? Like,
it's a tour bus. It's a tour bus for the players. For the players to drive around to the games. You clown.
Hold up, and you got bubbles coming out the bus.
Bubble machine.
That's that is.
I wish. I should send you. I should put the link in there.
I actually played with some bubbles yesterday with my niece, and she's 5. She's just turned 5, my niece, and I was playing bubbles with her. That's how crazy it is. And this football club,
good. West Hammed up, like good.
Are you gonna have that for home games as well? Not home games, but you know your normal bus over here. Are you gonna start having bubbles everywhere you go, just like blowing out onto the public?
I think it's just an American exclusive. So I don't think we get to enjoy the bubbles.
American exclusive.
I put the link in the chat.
I'm gonna take a look at this, and I'm sure we'll have a laugh of it in a minute. But let's start with you. Oh my God! Just in this, I'm gonna have to share this, man. This is unbelievable. This is an actual club,
this is epic. This is an epic.
This is actually West Ham Football Club.
That's fake, this is. I actually believed it for 1 second as well. If that was real. If that was genuinely real, I'm reporting you.
That is epic. Look at that.
There's no way that's. There's no way.
You would remain.
That's got to be AI generated or something.
It's real.
That is a shambles.
Oh my word! This is hilarious.
Imagine. Oh my days.
Oh my God. That is mad.
That would have summed up West Ham, like. Just that buff alone.
You'd be so excited if you saw that down the streets of Croydon.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, you know what I'd be excited about? If we had a trophy, we talk trophies here. We don't talk about bubbles. That's my objective. That's the objective. Like if we're talking stuff on top of a bus, we're talking about trophies. Like we wouldn't want flipping bubbles on top of a bus.
You talking about trophies, yeah?
I mean, that's what we would want. That's what we want on top of a bus. We wouldn't want.
Sometimes you don't do yourself any favors, D.
No, but I'm just saying that's the standards. Not that we match it. That's the standards that we would want trophies on top of a bus. We wouldn't want a flipping bubble machine that looks like a Nerf gun spraying the whole of the public while West Ham are going to flipping play Crystal Palace in a preseason friendly. So
It's
yeah,
good marketing. Like, you know what Americans are like? They're gonna be like, "Oh God, man, that's so cool, dude!" Like,
yeah,
they're
that's
their
why.
favorite bubble machine.
That's why the
like.
MLS. I mean, I'm pretty sure they will be open for another club. You can be like the Florida Hammers or something. Like, you know.
Like your shit, yeah, is what an eagle, yeah. The Eagles, they have that all over America.
Wait. Before you talk about
our
our shit, just know that to that shit you lost 5-2, and to that shit you haven't beaten like 2 years. Just remember that, innit? Just remember that. There's levels to this. Let's not forget.
I wanted to come West Ham first because, and I wanted to get D and Billy's opinion on them because I actually don't think they're looking too bad in terms of the signings they're linked with. Today they're linked with Tomori and Summerville, which we'll come into and get Lawless' opinion on. They got Max Kilman. They're looking at Diaby as well.
Duran's another one.
Jhon Duran, another striker. This is looking all right. The positions that are needed, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Kyle Walker-Peters as well. I mentioned on my transfer shows that I'd be quite excited if I was a West Ham fan, if I'm honest, in terms of those players. But they've got to get them across the line. But before I come to Lawless on it, D, what do you think, bruv? West Ham's chances this season under Lopetegui, are you worried of what they might finish above you again?
I mean, I could just create a rumor of Crystal Palace being linked to Messi. It doesn't mean we're going to be getting Messi. It's nice being linked to all these players, but are they really going to pull all of these players? I don't think so. I think Summerville is going to be too much for them. Tomori would be a fantastic signing. Kilman, they overpaid for him, but he could be Lopetegui knows him, so maybe they could find a bit of value there. I even asked Lawless this question as well. I mean, even Kante, who was linked with them for about 20 million plus £200,000 in wages. He always hypes up their sporting director. They've been rumored with a lot of players, but in terms of getting the business done, right now is all it is just flirting and getting nothing out of it.
How many signings you made?
Huh?
How many signings you made?
2.
2 players no one's heard of. Who are they? Who are these players?
You might not heard of. Actually, you might know.
Me by.
Hold up.
Did anyone know that Palace signed anyone? Like, was anyone aware?
I only knew the guy that D was like lapping over the other day. What was his name?
Kamada. That
yeah.
West Ham in Europe League as well. Probably knocked you out as well. Remember him. Exactly. You probably forgot about him, and you forgot because remember you done the same thing with Oliver Glasner as well, saying who is he and whatever, and he was in that same team that knocked you out in Europe League. Look, it's not about Palace. This is a conversation about West Ham. Stop putting your insecurity.
No, but I'm saying it's July. Why are you talking? We've signed 2 players, so why are you getting on us that I'm
just saying like you're rumored with all of these players, but how many of these players can you pull? I think Wan-Bissaka would be a solid signing. Our leftover for 10 million. That's solid for West Ham. Kyle Walker-Peters.
Your leftover, yeah. He left you over Man United. That's why he's a leftover.
I mean, we got £50 million for him, and then he's going to United for £10 million. Kyle Walker-Peters would be a solid signing. I mean, you've been rumored with a lot of quality players. I think Reece Nelson would be a solid move as well. But then again, let's see who you actually get. Summerville, for me, for example, I don't think that's realistic. I don't really see you spending £40 million that Leeds won. But I mean, if you do, that'd be good. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing so far about West Ham that is exciting. I mean, we've been rumored with a lot of players as well at Palace. Sule, Nusa, Emile Smith Rowe, who I've rated. A lot of players we've been rumored with. But it's not like we're going to sign all of them. So let's see who they actually sign. But so far, I would say, it's been an all right start to the window, nothing special. I don't know if Lawless disagrees or agrees with me, but I'm not even taking a piss. I'm not even trolling. Go
on, Lawless.
Yeah, well, I see a lot of Arsenal fans trying to push Nketiah onto us. No, we ain't taking no Nketiah, mate. He couldn't even finish in this like best Arsenal team in donkey's years. Still couldn't finish. Like, so you can keep Nketiah on these 100 grand.
Is he better than Antonio?
Is he better than Antonio?
He is.
He can't do what Antonio can do. He can't occupy defenders.
So he's not then. So he's not better than him then.
I would rather stick with Antonio
than
get Nketiah on 100 grand a week and whatever price that whatever transfer fee you'd want for him. Same as Reece Nelson. Nah, that's a signing that I would pass on. Not that he's bad, and I don't think he'd be bad for us. But I just don't think he's really played enough football. Sam was like really hyping him up to me, going, "Yeah, he's this, he's that," but I don't know, man. Like I said, I was listening to some Arsenal fans, like the Arse blogs, and they were like, "Nah, man, that guy's trash." So
So are you
That's
happy
a bit
with
harsh.
Windows so
That's
far?
a bit harsh.
You
He's not
deflected
trash.
the whole question and you start talking about Arsenal
No,
players.
because everyone's all the chat is just Eddie.
I don't know why you're
Eddie.
talking about Eddie and Nketiah and Reece Nelson. I'm talking about your
Because that's
actual
what
signings.
That's what the audience wants. The audience wants to know about Eddie. It's all Eddie, Eddie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like, but yeah, Kante. I was like, look, if we'd have got him, it would have been cool.
Oh, what, are you not getting
that.
him? Sorry, what happened?
They don't want to sell. El Etihad don't
Oh,
want to
so
sell.
you're not even end up getting him. All right. Oh, my bad. I didn't realize. I thought because the way you were raving on about him, just on a timeline.
What are you talking about? The way I'm raving on about
timeline, flipping when Kante was linked to him and acting like you're going to win the Champions League. I thought you would have got him.
Let's just ignore that because that's just false. That's all lies. But yeah, man, like I said, like look, Todibo, that one obviously he would rather go to Juventus, which is understandable. Play Champions League football. They ain't trying to really pay what we're trying to pay, what we're looking to pay. So that's getting held up on that. Like, I think they would rather sell to us, obviously, so they get more money. He's hoping Juventus pay more money. And it's just in the middle there at the moment. So, yeah, like, I'm not sweating. Like, people are like, oh, we need more signings. We've signed 2 players, like, so early in the window.
You know Nelson for 20 million would be a good signing, don't you?
What's he on?
What wages?
Yeah,
he's on 100k, same as Eddie, right?
Oh, fucking nah, man, he ain't no 100K.
Yeah, but he might take a cut, innit? He might take a cut for first team football, right? But listen, hear me out. You were getting very excitable over Ben Rama and Fornals not long ago.
I'd keep Ben Rama and Fornals over Reece Nelson.
What's his name? Who was the other brother? Who was the other guy? Oh, what was the guy who went to West Ham and then lit the league up and he was trash afterwards? He was at Man United. What the hell was his name?
Lingard.
Jesse Lingard.
Oh, Lingard.
Yeah, Jesse Lingard. So you've got excited over players like that before. Bloody, what was his name? Snodgrass. All these guys you've had on the wing. Nelson's better than all those brothers, man.
Don't ever disrespect Snodgrass like that.
I love
he was trash.
Oh, what's that guy? What's that guy?
No, he was not trash.
Hold on. What's that guy? Jordan Hugo or something?
Hugo.
Yeah. The guy that blowing bubbles and he blew.
Well, he wanted. He couldn't wait to go out and walk out with all the bubbles. See, the bubbles are fucking huge.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's what he done. That's his highlight. I mean, that's
no, he didn't get to do that. To be fair, because he only came on as sub, so he didn't even get to do that.
I think Reece would do well. He wouldn't get into the first team straight away, I don't think. But if Paqueta is not going to be playing, because there's rumours about him playing while he's being investigated, I think Reece Nelson and Kudus is all right on the wings, or he can fight. Right. But if you put Bowen up top and have Kudus, and
we got Gilham, who's like the young, exciting.
Gilham, yeah.
So like, it's one of them. Like, obviously, we'd still like another left winger because we don't know how quick Gilham's going to adapt. He's coming from Brazil League, is 19, so it'd be good to have someone else. And Reece Nelson is Premier League proven, so he's got that experience. But yeah, it all comes down to price and wages. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would have to take a wage cut. I don't think he would. I think there's other clubs that might be desperate enough to pay him that. He to be fair, he does seem like a Palace, like he would be at Palace. Like,
why would he go to Palace over West Ham then? Why is that?
No, not that he would go. It's that like we wouldn't sign him, but Palace would. Do you know what I mean? It's a Palace signing.
Wow. Would you take him, D?
Reece Nelson?
Yeah.
I would, but I think we're aiming for better players right now. With all due respect. So yeah, I don't.
He's not good enough for Palace. Yeah, Arsenal fans.
I rate him. I want Emile Smith Rowe, but you lot are just playing too many mind games. It just pisses me off. I can't be bothered.
And listen, Emile Smith Rowe is just
captain in him, and like, what do you want? Like, do you want to sell him? Do you, like, it's
boring. But he don't want to go. He don't want to go. He's so comfy on that bench. They got him a nice little pillow to sit on, like, you know what I mean, little blanket, some snacks. Like, he's loving that bench, boy. He's like,
he will go for the right price. I think if you pay about 40, I reckon you'll get him.
That's just way too much for someone who's so injury prone though at the minute, isn't it? Really.
Arsenal are desperate. I'm getting the impression Arsenal are desperate to raise funds. This is what I'm getting with the prices they're putting on players. And their lack of movement so far in the window, I'm getting the impression they're trying to really raise funds before they splash, and that's why they.
You say though it's crazy money, Billy, right? Do you think Elliot Anderson at 35 is not crazy money though?
Yeah, but he's just had a proper full season of Well,
Yeah, but he was
virtually a
injured.
proper full
He's been
season.
injured for most of it,
He
wasn't he?
was, but Smith Rowe's not played regular first team football for 2 years now.
13
And
apprentices last
for
year.
someone
Yeah.
who's
What do you think
so
what do you think he
injury
should be
prone
worth?
over the past 2 years, I don't know, 25, 30, I think is a much fairer price. I think 40 million for someone who's had such little football the past 2 years is ridiculous. Now, back a couple of years ago, you're talking at least 40, pushing 50 million to sign him. But after playing as little as he has, I think 40 million is just way too much. And
So
I can understand
the reason
no one
Well,
would say it.
What about Duran? Because we talk about unreasonable, yeah? And Aston Villa's been pretty unreasonable with this sale. For a player that they don't
he's
want.
not 50
like
million, man. That's crazy.
50 million, 40 million, sorry.
But you keep moving the goalposts. Villa, well, not you, but Villa keep moving the goalposts, and they're making this transfer more difficult than it needs to be. Like I said, they don't want to keep him because of his attitude. He don't want to be there because he's not happy with the playing time that he's received under Emery. He wants to come to West Ham, but you think it'd be a player. Again, he's a young player. He's got potential, but it's not someone that Villa have relied on because he hasn't had any impact on their team. So you think it would be, fairly cut and dry. But like this guy that's barely played, you're talking about Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe is more of a proven commodity in the Premier League than Duran. But you're charging more for Duran than Arsenal are for Smith Rowe.
Yeah, but then hold up. With Smith Rowe, I do have to add his injury concerns are real. I mean, I think I think what Arsenal are trying to do is they're not trying to get finesse, which I understand it because that's why they're putting that price out. Because if he stays fit, there's a player and a half there. But the question has been, can he stay fit? 13 appearances last year, 12 appearances the year before. You're telling me Eze is worth £20 million more than Emile Smith Rowe? Are you taking the piss? Eze got injured.
It
is a lot. I want Emile Smith Rowe, but that price tag is a bit. Too much. It is a bit.
Yeah, but Eze's got a release clause, and Smith Rowe doesn't have one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But then realistically, I mean, let's just be realistic. £40 million for a player that had 13 Premier League appearances last season and 12 before, and he's had hamstring, he's had numerous groin injuries. He's had injuries. There are serious concerns about his injury.
Yeah, I don't disagree, D. I don't disagree, D. But I think you answered your own question. It's because of the potential of what he could do. We saw when he was fit, he was lighting it up.
Wait, why are we back on Smith Rowe? I was just asking Billy about Duran. You let Billy get off about the Durans because that's what I'm saying.
I'm not going to get off it. I might will just come onto it in a second.
No, but I asked you the question, and D's like, yeah, Smith Rowe and Eze. No, I want answers on Duran because I think it's a joke, and if these prices that you're trying to charge, I think it's a piss take.
I mean,
explain yourself.
We obviously want to make a profit on Duran. We bought him in for 20 million 18 or so months ago, I think it was.
So 21 million would be a profit. So like so the difference between 20 million and 40
you've got 80. We're not talking 45 million. We're talking 35 to 40 million. And had Chelsea not done a background check on him and realised how loopy and mental he is, then he'd be a Chelsea player right now. But we've always wanted 35 to 40 million for him. With Duran, you're literally talking about potential, who's also had 18 or so months under a manager like Emery, playing not regular, but every now and then playing Premier League football.
Very rarely. I think he's played the minutes he's played and the appearances is hardly any.
Yeah, but look at the goals that he's scored in that though as well. He does score goals.
Hang on a minute. I'm stopping Billy here, man. Hang on a minute. You've just been telling me that Smith Rowe is not worth this and now all of a sudden a Villa player is like, well, I think 40 is about right.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But if it wasn't for Chelsea, then he would have gone for 40 million already. So I don't see what's wrong with.
If he is like you said, he's a bit
35 to 40 million is probably too much for him. But that's what Villa want.
Personality and attitude should bring the price down, Billy. Is because you're saying that they didn't buy.
You're the ones that want to pay it. You're there. No,
we don't want to pay it. We tried to offer you what the price you wanted, but in add-ons, right? So it was like 30 mil, 35 mil with plus 10 mil add-ons, right? Which the add-ons, if he's as good as you think he will meet those add-ons. But you don't want to take that add-on.
We're talking about a player with unlimited potential. He's a quality like the potential in him is scary, but it's just whether you can get that potential out of him. And that's what you're buying at the end of the day. That's what Chelsea bought in Amari Kellerman when we sold him for 20 million. You're buying this potential. And with Duran, he is a natural born goal scorer. You've seen it in the game against Palace last season. You know,
yes, he can finish,
he's a natural born goal scorer.
I don't justify signing based on Chelsea, by the way. Can we just knock that? Chelsea are not a good example of, well, Chelsea wanted him because Chelsea are a shambles in the transfer market. So I don't
disagree.
Wait, Billy, how much you want for him? 50 mil?
35 to 40 mil.
I've seen. I mean, if you want the money, I mean, we're a serious club. Like, if you want the money, we can.
You're a seriously broke club. What are you talking about?
Contact Palace. Like, well, you know, we're not here to just bluff and negotiate like £1 or £2 million and talk about £21 million of profit and all that.
Yes.
If you want serious business, I mean, these fools that paid £40 million for Max Kilman. Of course, everyone's going to try, you know, finesse them because I mean, if you pay £40 million for Max Kilman, this Steinman or whatever it's called that this guy talks about, that he's a genius and he's amazing and all of that. We've literally seen 2 transfers and one of them is literally overpaying on a player. But if you want serious business, I mean, Palace, we're looking at forward. So if you can always come over to us. And
Jhon Duran is ready to agitate for move to West Ham. Could go for 31 mil.
He must be down. Agitate to move to West Ham. Like, you have to be down in the slump.
He's after first team football, and like I say, we don't want.
That makes sense. I mean, it's not West Ham. It's first team football. It's not
30 million. 30 million. I think that's fair, Billy. I can't lie.
I do as well, to be honest with you. But we're obviously going to try and push to get as much profit as we can.
And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with Smith Rowe, because I don't think Arteta, from what I hear, wants to sell him.
Yeah, exactly. That's the confusing thing, Potts. Like, if he doesn't want to sell him, then you don't need to. Because I was saying this on our stream as well, on Back of the Nest. Because the other day on Friday, there was a report saying, "Oh, £30 million bid rejected. Arsenal want 35. So we're close." And then afterwards, his captain's aside. He scores a goal. Hearing Arteta doesn't want to sell him. I mean, I don't know who exactly is running the show. I don't know if it's Edu and Arteta, but they need to sit down and have a discussion, like all 3 of them. Because I'm hearing he wants to stay. Arteta wants to keep him. Arsenal want to sell him. Just sit down. Like, it just feels like a waste of time.
He is on his knees for Smith Rowe. He's desperate for Smith Rowe.
I'm not on my knees. To be fair, I'm actually in a massive minority. Palace fans do not want him. They do not want Smith Rowe.
And
I understand it. Before Arsenal fans talk about Eze, which I don't know where Arsenal fans have got this from, Eze literally had 2 injuries. Well, 2 major injuries in his career. He had an Achilles injury in 2021. He missed the season, 26 games. And he had a muscle injury where he missed 5 games this previous season. Before that, he's had no injuries. Smith Rowe, on the other hand, he's missed 24 games to hamstring injury, groin injury 34 games, shoulder injury 30 games, groin injury 21 games, knee injury 9 games. So he's had that multiple injuries. Eze is not even injury prone. I don't know where people are getting it from.
Do you know what, D? I'll do a deal with you now. 25 million and Smith Rowe for Eze. There we go. You get Smith Rowe, and we get Eze, and you get a bit of money as well to spend on someone. How's that sound?
I'm just contemplating whether to stay on the stream or not. That's what I'm contemplating right now. I'm not even. I'm just thinking about that crazy. That deal was just too crazy to me. I don't know whether I should remain. If there's a substitute, just take me off already.
Would you rather have 20? All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
You might as well just say we want to rob you. Just open the door.
Well, listen, it's 60 million release clause, ain't he?
Yeah, but we're not going to give you Eze.
Would you rather have 60 million release clause from us or 20 million plus Smith Rowe? Which one do you want?
Nah, but I mean, that's 2 separate deals. That's 2 separate deals because it's not 60 mil, by the way, 60 plus 8. So it could potentially be
60 plus 8 then. We'll go with that then. 68 million or Smith Rowe plus money. What do you want? Do you want the 68 mil?
Stop complicating things. If you want to sell Smith Rowe, I'm just saying, if you're just complicating the matter. These are 2 different players. First of all, with Eze to Arsenal, I don't know whether he would want to join Arsenal, not because of where Arsenal are, but because of the game time that he might get at Arsenal. And also with Smith Rowe, it's just 2 separate deals. So I mean, be serious about Smith Rowe, then we can talk about Eze. Because right now,
I don't trust this Smith Rowe as a player, man. There's something wrong with him. Like, for the fact that Arteta doesn't play him at all, like he's not even like one of the first players off the bench. Like, Vieira's ahead of
He
him.
wants him. He doesn't play him, but he wants him. And Smith Rowe wants to stay as well. Like, what's going on? Like, behind, like,
Do you know what? I think
he did start to use him at the end of the season. Vieira was sat on the bench and he used Smith Rowe over him. He brought him on in the last game of the season and he played him against Luton and he played him another game where he was really good. So he was starting to see performances from him and he was starting to see appearances. But I agree with you. I don't think he's been used as much as potentially he could have. I actually agree with what you're saying at the start, that I don't think he is worth the money that you're saying. But in this transfer market that's gone mad, everyone's now a lot more expensive. If you was to ask me at the start of the season before Elliot Anderson and players like that and Max Kilman were going for 40 and 35 million, then sorry, but yeah, we're going to now ask for more, which is why we're putting silly prices on Ramsdale for 50 million and Eddie for 45 million and Smith Rowe, because the market's gone nuts, man. If Max Kilman's 40 million, then how much is Smith Rowe? Are you telling me Max Kilman is worth the same amount?
No,
The captain, and one
captain
played
of Wolves.
every week.
He's the captain of Wolves and he's a good
It doesn't
signing.
matter. Just because Arsenal taxes it can't be a thing. Just because he's wore the Arsenal shirt.
How old is Max Kilman?
Is that 26, 27?
No, he's not. He's 27. So he's going to be.
Oh.
So he's not going to be a 23-year-old that's now coming through that could be potentially one of the best players
in an
at
Arsenal
Palace.
shirt.
Smith Rowe could be one of the best players at Palace if he went to Palace. If he stayed fit.
But what do you think? This Leeds fan in the chat says if Eze goes, Summerville will be the man for you.
No, he won't. Let's just stop these myths. Let's just talk about Smith Rowe. I actually want to apologize.
Why are you so obsessed by Smith Rowe, man?
No. It's not Smith Rowe. It's not Smith Rowe. I was on here. I've been on
It's a waste of space, man.
And when you lot asked me for fees, I want an apology actually right now from a few people here. When you lot asked me for fees for Guehi, everyone was laughing their arse off when I said 70 to 80 million pounds. Everyone here was laughing. And no one can deny that. No one can deny that. People were laughing about Eze. I heard Guehi's worth 35 to 40 mil by certain people. So am I going to get an apology?
No, do you know what?
I got an apology from someone, but I haven't got apologies from everyone. Someone actually mentioned this to me. He's like, you were actually mentioning these players being worth that much, and you lot were all downplaying on Guehi and Eze and every one of them.
Do you know why, though, D? Do you know why we were at the time? Because you're right. You're right. Sorry, my voice going. You're right. 100%. I know who the panel was. I know who it was at the time. It was Joe, as in Leeds Joe. It was me. And I'm sure it was Sava or someone like that when you spoke about it. This was like 2 seasons ago when Eze and Lisa, it was Elise you said was 70 million pounds, who was about 19 at the time, I think. Something like that.
Hold up. But no. Hold up. You lot are doing the same thing for Smith Rowe. Was I not saying 70 million pounds?
No. We're talking about 35, 40. You said he was 70.
It's about potential. Because you lot have done the same thing with Eze. You've done the same thing with Guehi, with Elise as well. And funny enough, now these players are going for that similar price tag. These players are going for that price tag. So, you know,
Guehi, I'll give you Guehi. But when he did come on the scene, you did start saying waxing lyrical about him being the next England captain and going mad like that.
Okay, but it's not. Hold up, was he not England's best player in this past Euro?
Yeah, no, he was, but he's not going to be the captain.
Yeah, I mean, what makes you say that he can't be a future England captain?
He's not going to be, D, is he? Let's be real.
Why would he not be? Because he's been
ahead of Bellingham and Declan Rice and Harry Kane.
I don't know about Declan Rice. I mean, if you're looking at performances, Declan Rice wasn't that great for England.
You're going to have Mark Guehi ahead of Declan Rice as the England captain.
I would. Why wouldn't I? Why would you want Declan Rice? Why would you want Declan Rice?
Well, you would because you're a Palace fan.
Look, you laughed about the price tag, and now you're laughing about Guehi being captain. What's bad about the captaincy? Like
that was a crazy shout about the captaincy. But I'll give you the 70 million
for England. He was literally captain at youth level.
Sorry, the fact that Guehi cost England the final, he should not get no captain.
What do you mean he cost England the final? If Guehi wasn't performing for England, then are England even in the final in the first place?
Yeah, Konza could have done it. I already said this. Konza would have been better.
If Max Kilman's going for 40 million pounds,
we've laughed Guehi off at 70 million. We ain't doing that. That is too much in my opinion. I think Ben White 50 million money is about fair for Mark Guehi. That's what I think.
With that.
I think he's a great defender. And if he does go, then fair play. Listen, Salad, big up, bro. How are you, man?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm not going to lie. I agree with the Palace, brother, man. I mean, if Ben White was 50 million them years ago, Guehi, who's done more in the Premier League and proven more, and for England should be a little bit more than, in my opinion, personally.
55.
So what would you
then.
say? 60 million?
I think between 60 and 70. I mean, the market's gone berserk now anyway.
That's what we're just saying.
Like the market's ridiculous now because 10 years ago, a player like Guehi goes for about 16 million. That's a massive, but obviously in this day's market, I would say between 60 and 70 million for sure. Simply because look at the defenders that have gone around that range. And I think he's better than Ben White. I mean,
What?
Really proven. I mean, when Ben White was made the transfer to Arsenal and Guehi now is better than Ben White was then.
I think they're two different positions, though, right?
Is Ben White Potts going to come crawling?
I guess Ben White is a failed centre back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not going to say failed centre back, but Ben White is the centre. He came in to be your leading and your cornerstone centre back. You know what I'm trying to say?
Did he though, Salah? Or did he come back as our right back? Did Arteta have a plan for him? That's what I don't know. Because I think Gabriel would have been our leading centre back.
But yeah, no, I think Guehi goes for a decent amount of money. And
Kilman's going for £40 million. You're telling me Guehi's worth £10 more million than Max Kilman? Are we taking the piss right now? Like,
yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
Why is this Kilman disrespect? You're going to see this season. Do you know what?
I'm going to see.
I rate Max Kilman so highly, bro. I think Max.
Yeah, I like Kilman. I must say, I like Kilman.
Like last year he was linked with Napoli when Kim Min-jae went to Bayern Munich, and he was my first choice centre back. Like that we were being linked with. Like Kilman is a top centre back. I rate him so highly. Like he's very good playing with the ball. He wins the ball in the air. I think he's a top centre back. I think people are rating Max Kilman because of how bad Wolves have been, but Kilman is a top centre back.
Yeah,
he is. But then England tax and literally Premier League has been performing as well.
England tax. You're just saying it's tax. It's not talent. It's tax. It's just because he's
talent as well. Guehi's a better defender than Max Kilman
because Harry Maguire couldn't go to because he was injured.
Guehi, Lourdes, are you telling me? Hold up. Let's clarify this. Are you telling me Guehi? Are you telling me Max Kilman is a better defender than Mark Guehi?
I don't think the disparity that you're.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're making it out to be, in my opinion. I don't think the gap is. I don't think you're saying, like, I'm trying to say, like, it's much closer than you're making.
I think it is, bro. I think it is.
He has to beat them long ball allegations for me.
A lot more. Mark Guehi.
He's a long ball merchant, bro. He's a long ball merchant.
What are you talking about? Long ball merchant? Are you? Mark Guehi is a long ball merchant. He can do that. But
that's what I saw at the Euros, mate. That's what I saw at the Euros.
Because of Southgate. People like Just Joe is the reason why Mark Guehi was doing that. Just Joe is to blame for that. Because if it wasn't for Just Joe and his Southgate agenda, then we wouldn't have been in that position. Yeah,
I don't know, man. He didn't show the composure on the ball.
It's Southgate. I mean, watch Palace and then you'll see. I mean, this is what I'm saying.
I actually like rate Guehi. I thought Guehi was one of the best players.
You lot laughed at me. When we spoke about the price tag, you lot laughed at me. About 35 million pounds. You lot laughed at me when I said
that was 2 seasons ago, though. I'll give you that. That was 2 seasons ago.
If he goes for less, we're gonna laugh at you again.
But I'm telling you, no. Okay, cool. He might, if he goes for less, it might be down to his contract situation. He's still worth more than that, right? With Elise, I think Elise is worth more than £60 million, especially in today's market. But
he's probably going to go, innit, D? Like he's probably going to go because he was the one that you said out of Elise, Eze, and Guehi. You said, yeah, Guehi will be the one to go, and it's probably going to go.
Well, to be fair, I'm still not against it. I think Guehi's Palace's best defender, and I think Guehi's a top quality defender. But if they gave us £70 million, 70 million pounds, I'm not against that. I'll sell Guehi.
Well, if all three of them go, you are in the mud, D. If all 3 of them go, you know that.
No, why are we in the mud?
You are sharp, man. You said only one would go.
Why are we in the mud?
No, you're in the mud. You, D, are in the mud based on what you said. You said, do you actually think we would sell all 3? Why do we need to sell all 3?
You're right.
Guehi will probably go. Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
We're going to get Sam on them clips.
If you lose them 3, you're going to flirt with relegation if you lose them 3.
I know we won't, Potts, because you're just talking based on the fact that we
asking a question.
One-time replacements. Like, why would we flirt with relegation if we sold all 3? So basically, you're saying Palace recruitment is not
3 best players, no? They're not your 3 best players.
But how do we find these players in the first place? And is it just them lot? Joachim Andersen, Adam Walton, and all these other players? How do we find them in the first place? Because they're good recruits.
So you're going to replace.
You're telling me with about
Ask
150 million pounds.
Southampton, you can only go back to the well so many times before it runs dry. You can't just keep selling your best players and
Okay,
go.
but
Oh,
we're doing up ifs and buts, just like we're doing up ifs and buts about West Ham signing all of these players. Like right now, it's 22nd of July, by the way, and only Elise is gone so far. So I mean, yeah, if all three were to go, then we can have a conversation. We can see replacements, but it's not like it's yeah. So far,
the transfer window hasn't really got going yet. So you know,
well, it might not be based on PSR and all these other big clubs. I mean, look at Arsenal. Arsenal's only signed what, one player? I mean, because of PSR and all of the other business and finances. I mean, it's not like
because of PSR, we've signed about 8.
Yeah, I mean, you sold about 50. I mean, you sold not 50, but you sold what was his name?
Some dodgy dealings going on.
Villa and Chelsea, dodgy man, dodgy Villa and Chelsea. Like,
yeah,
I mean, handshakes with each other.
Talking about all these prices, by the way, we signed Maatsen for 37 million. That's not a bad price. In all of this, Kilman going for 40 million, Smith Rowe 40 million, Duran 40 million, this, that, and the other. We got Maatsen for 37. Just like
you're splashing the cash because then you just spent 50 on Anana as well.
50 on Anana. Diaby's gone as well. João Felix is.
Yeah, man.
Why does no one? Why are they beating the buying the league allegations? Like, do you know what I mean? Why are they getting away with it? Like, no one.
They're not buying the league. They're not buying the league. They're trying to.
They're not going to buy the league, but they're trying to. They're trying to buy.
They're not trying to buy the league. They're trying to build.
Heaven forbid we try and build a squad that can compete.
It's supposed to be a negative thing, isn't it? Like Man City did it, and it was a bad thing.
But the thing is, I think it's different with Aston Villa because Aston Villa are not buying Robinho and all of these world-class players are already ready made.
We're also not buying £50 million players in every single position.
Yeah, they're doing. I think they're doing a good job of buying like decent up-and-comers in.
No, come on, man.
The thing is, bro, like back in the day when you spend 50 million multiple times, it's different to spending 50 million now because everyone's worth 50 million now. Literally everyone's worth 50 million. So you can't unless they're going around spending 100 million on every position. That's the only way to compare it.
No, but if we look at total spend, they're one of the highest spenders.
But look at the money that we've brought in as well.
They brought in money as well.
Look at the money that we're bringing in as well.
It's called good recruitment, which your club has failed to do so far in this window.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The club that takes our cast off, yeah? The club that takes our cast off, yeah? Takes our hand-me-downs.
What?
Yeah?
What are you talking about?
The club... What do you mean? How many of our
numbers so far has been that AI video bubbles on top of your bus? That's bigger than Matt Coleman joining you. That's been the highlight. That AI video.
How Tompkins work out for you? How did Nketiah work out?
Look, I rave on about Dougie Friedman, right? I do rave on about him. But you also talk about Sidemen, and right now all I've seen is nothing so far. Let's see what you actually do because so far.
Let's see what you do because no one knows anything about.
No one knows. I think we've made solid business. We've done solid business so far.
Who's the other player you signed? You mentioned Kamada. No one knows who this other player. Who have you signed?
Well, you might not know, but if you watch La Liga, Real Betis, he was one of the best young defenders there in the Liga. We actually. I was looking at Lawless.
No one believes that.
It was actually Tadi Riyad. He's a very high. I mean, you'll see him. You'll see him anyways. He's a very good defender. Very good defender.
Guehi replacement, yeah. Guehi replacement.
Not Guehi's replacement. Because if you saw Guehi, then we'll sign another player. This is called depth. You know, quality.
Why? You've got the best young defender from La Liga. Like that's a straight replacement.
It's one of the best. One of the best.
One of like 30. 30 out of 30.
I mean, it's still good business. You're real. Well, you don't laughed about Gay's price tag. You don't laughed about Eze's price tag. You laughed about it.
I haven't actually asked you yet, D. Is Eze going to City?
That's
the rumor.
So that rumor we actually covered on back of the nest as well. So City wanted Eze last summer as well, and they decided to go with Matheus Nunes. So first of all, there's a bit of question marks there in terms of how much do they really want Eze, because they had the opportunity of getting Eze and they decided to go for someone else. And this rumor was based on another report of City are willing to sell Kevin De Bruyne, which we've found out that that's probably not true because there were rumors about Kevin De Bruyne to Saudi, which as of right now, that's not true. So this whole thing about City wanting Eze, and I mean, no talks have actually taken place, no offers being put out there. It's just talks, just like it was last summer. So I mean, if City do want Eze, I think that would be a solid move for him eventually for when Kevin De Bruyne does leave. But I don't know. So far, there isn't anything that shows that we're 100% losing Eze. So I'm not as worried. I know there will be rumors all around, anyways. When it comes to Eze, Guehi, it's normal because these are top quality players, right? But for City, as of right now, I'm not as worried because it just talks. There's nothing. I mean, not even talks. It's just paper talks. There's nothing that's actually happened rather than one report.
You look at you. You've driven Potts away with your waffle. Like he's literally like, "I'm out. I'm done with this." What is the?
I mean, no, but I mean, people talk about Eze, Guehi, and all of these other players leaving as well. But with Eze, City want him, but that report is based on De Bruyne leaving, which that got shut down already. So, I mean, how much truth is there in it?
I think Eze is going to go somewhere, man. I think someone's going to activate that release.
Go where? Go where?
City or Arsenal, I reckon.
I don't think Arsenal. I'll be honest. It's not going Arsenal.
I'm praying Arsenal, but I don't know that.
I don't think so. I don't think so because, I mean, with Elise, the reason there was a bit of a hold up between that deal being done with Bayern Munich is because in the release clause, we wanted the money up front. That was the problem. And I just don't see Arsenal paying that money up front for Eze.
No, Arsenal are going to try and do like 20 installments.
Yeah, exactly, 20 installments. You done with Wilfried Zaha, and that's why you signed Pepe instead of Zaha because you tried to pay Zaha over.
That was an old regime, man. That was an old regime.
It's not old regime.
Wait a minute, you tried to sign Rice for like
was
70 mil over 8 years. So what are you talking about? Old regime?
Yeah, that's because he was 120 million or whatever you wanted from him.
And this season, I think it was, I don't know if it's why it was either the Calafiore deal I was reading or one of the deals was held up because of how much you wanted to pay in installments. So it's very much.
Yeah, but then it has been reported now that it's actually the swap. It's actually the 50% pay on thing with Bologna and what's the name? Basel that is holding it up. So
just pay the money, big boys, isn't it? Big Arsenal.
They are paying the money. They are paying the money.
We are. We've agreed all that. We've agreed all that. Come on, keep up.
Roma want to get that money as well because Roma want a bit of that add-on fee as well. I think Roma are taking Basel to court or something. Like there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so many hands in that Calafiore pot. It's actually annoying. Like just get it done.
What have Roma got to do with it?
I think he was at Roma before Basel, and then there was a sell-on fee there. But then he went to Bologna. Now Bologna want the sell-on fee. Well, Basel want the sell-on fee from Bologna, but then Roma want the sell-on fee from Basel through. Right. It's weird. It's weird.
So how much is the total fee you paid? Like, what is it?
What for Calafiore?
Yeah,
it's like a 40 million euro plus add-ons. Or something like that.
You was pissing about over 40 million, like 35 million quid. Like,
are you not gonna?
No, they wanted 50 million. We got them down to 40 million plus add-ons. That's where it was in the end. Go on, D.
Let me ask you a question. Do you see Eze joining Arsenal? Realistically,
no, I don't think so. But I'd like him.
Exactly. Yeah, you would. I mean,
we've got some money to spend now.
Eze to Villa.
Eze to Villa. Wow.
Look, we've got money to spend. We've got the Diaby money.
That's my final warning before I leave.
Wait, you was just defending Villa and being their little buddy.
No. But let's be realistic. I had this debate with Newcastle,
and then it got personal.
With all due respect, there's a hierarchy. With all due respect, Eze and Elise. I mean, when Elise was linked to Newcastle, let's be respectful to the situation. Newcastle, of course, they're bigger than Palace and all of that. They've got a project going on, but these players are bigger than these clubs. Eze is bigger than Aston Villa. Eze will not join Aston Villa. He will join a bigger club in terms of a top six about that really? Aston Villa. With all due respect, let's be real about the situation. He literally slapped
is Eze bigger than your whole club?
Who's bigger, Eze or João Felix?
I mean, in terms of bigger, what we talk about bigger. When we talk about players,
you're the one that's brought this bigger stuff into it. So,
well, when I talk about bigger, I'm laughing like Lawless. Why is he laughing? When I talk about bigger, I'm talking about football clubs. I'm not talking about in terms of players' abilities. I think Eze right now is a better player than João Felix. Yeah.
Who's a bigger signing? Who's like a bigger deal? Like
In
Who's
terms
the
of
more
names,
standout
maybe
signing?
João Felix still has that name from all those years ago. So I think João Felix might be a bit more exciting. And
okay,
glamorous.
does that destroy your argument then that he's too big to sign for Villa?
But Aston Villa will never get Eze.
I can't believe I'm siding with Billy here.
Aston Villa will never get. Like, let's be real. Aston Villa will never get Eze. If Arsenal,
I don't think it. I don't think it will happen. I was just wondering.
just like Elise as well.
Just
like,
funny to
there's
see. Just funny to
there's
see.
just a level with these players that if they were to leave Palace, they're not going to leave.
Yeah, there's no point going to a team like Aston Villa. Like, you're going to leave your comfort zone of Palace. You might as well go to one of these Champions League contending teams.
Exactly.
And
That's what was with
like,
Elise.
I swear to God, for me, it wouldn't even have made sense for Elise to even go to Chelsea. You
But
feel
he
me?
didn't though. He rejected.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't even have made sense for him to go to Chelsea because his talent is Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Man City, that level. You feel me? Like, it wouldn't have made sense for him to go to a rebuilding, restructuring Chelsea at this present moment in time.
And that's why this season I was actually confident of keeping Elise because the rumors that will be mentioned is Chelsea and Man United. And all along, Chelsea fans and United fans just hated this fact. But Elise was aiming for a Champions League club. And that's why I saw Arsenal were in the name, but I didn't say Elise joining Arsenal because of Saka. But realistically, City, PSG, and then all of a sudden, look, Bayern Munich came in and they've done the deal straight away. That just shows all of the rumors about Chelsea's PR that's got them brainwashed about him, of Palace snitching, and that's why he didn't join Chelsea. Like, he rejected them 2 years, Chelsea, Elise. And that's, I mean, with Eze, I'm pretty sure he has similar aims to play Champions League football. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Billy, I'm gonna read out this member chat because Siemens Potts isn't, but this is a good one. Member, yeah, kiss whatever that is, kiss a Mal Gunner. Billy, no one wants Felix. That's why you got him. Fair comment.
You haven't got him yet, no? Have you got him now? Have I missed
No,
that?
he's not a Villa. No, he's not a Villa player yet. It's Atletico Madrid wants some mad deal or something like that, which is kind of putting us off a little bit. But I understand that it's Emery's dream signing, apart from Nico Williams. And Nico Williams is like ultimate dream. And if Barcelona somehow manage to fumble it and don't get him over the line, I think we'll go all out for that. But in the meantime, we'll probably be trying to do a deal with Felix.
Would you Potts? Ain't that that's who you want?
I think if I'm honest, I understand that Marino and Williams are both wanted by Villa and Arsenal. If Barcelona
would he go Villa, Potts, though? Would he go Villa?
If Nico Williams goes Villa over Arsenal, then we've got some problems. Let me tell you that. But I think he would choose Arsenal over Aston Villa. Yeah.
What I've heard is, and I don't know how true this is, it was just something that I saw on Twitter. Emery and Monchi feel that Nico Williams is one of the last pieces in the puzzle to make us a title challenging team. Now, I don't believe that for a second, but if that's how highly they see him, then I really do think we'll go all out as far as
if it happens, Potts, you're in the mud. I got to head out anyway, so I thought I would end with that. At the end of the day, at the end of this transfer window in August, people will be in the mud. I will be there for it. We shall see.
Well, I think João Felix is more likely to go to Villa than Nico Williams personally. But
me and you both. Absolutely. I completely agree.
We'll see. Lawless legend, love, man. Cheers for coming on. See you next time, brother. In a bit, man.
Good to see you, mate.
Listen, we might as well stick with you, Bill, to wrap up, because I feel like Diaby, it's a bit of a strange one, bruv. Gone up to over 60 million over to Saudi. I don't know how old he is. He's in his early 20s, though, right?
25, yeah.
Yeah, so he's not a player that's coming to the end of his career. I find this one a bit odd. I like him. I think he's a hell of a player. I know he kind of died off towards the start of the season where he was rapid, but what do you think about this one? And do you think you'll get someone in to replace him that's now going to be a bit of money, like you say you've got?
He's a strange player, but it's one that doesn't sting, if you know what I mean. The Douglas Luiz deal stung a little bit, but somehow we managed to come out of that and ultimately hold our heads up quite high out of the deal. This Diaby one is one that just doesn't sting. All right, it's happening, but we're getting a lot of money in, and it just allows us to reinvest it heavily into. I believe we're going to sign quite a big player, whether it be Joao Felix. Like I said, Nico Williams is the ultimate dream, but I just don't see that happening. Yeah, the Joao Felix one's a little bit complicated. Other than that, I don't really know who else we've got on the radar. But yeah, we'll definitely be going out to get a big player, I think.
Mate, I think that it's a crazy deal for Diaby. I know that people will say, why? Because he's earning so much money. But unless he goes over a couple of years and comes back and think, because I don't think the grass is greener over there. I think the money is. But I don't
the thing is, bro. Let me correct you there. I've actually been keeping up with and covering the Saudi league last year, right? And it's actually a really competitive league. Like you'll see when these Saudi teams are in the FIFA Club World Cup next year, for example, when Al Hilal are competing with the Champions League teams. I feel like they're not just getting these, whereas the MLS and all these other leagues, they're just trying to get these players at the top of their career. They're getting a lot of decent young players as well. Like they've got so many Brazilian players there, like all of these Brazilians from Corinthians and all of these other teams. That's how they've been building their league for years anyway. Like in Asia, the Saudi league is probably the best league and the most competitive league there. Even before the money, the most Asian Champions League winners are Saudi teams. They're just trying to build their league using these bigger players, but they're not just, people see these big names like Diaby and Kante and Ronaldo, but don't realize they're like, last year they got Gabri Vega that was linked to all of these teams. Like they're getting so many decent young players. Gabri Vega was 21, 22. Fabrizio Romano said, here we go, he's going to Napoli, but now all of a sudden he's snatched away by Al Hilal and he's joining Mahrez and Saint Maximin and Firmino. So they're building decent teams and not just big name players. They're getting good players that fit.
Do you think it's a good move then?
I'm not going to say it's a good. I'm not going to say whether it's a good or a bad move. But I'm just.
Do you understand why players are going there? You're saying, Salad, yeah.
I'm saying, of course, the money is the main purpose, but I was just addressing the fact how people are looking at the league, because people forget in the 1990s, that's how the Premier League became a big league. Like it was always the Italian league, and then teams like Middlesbrough were signing players from Juventus, for example, that just won the Champions League. You know what I'm trying to say? So this is something that has been done before, and Saudi are just trying to do it. I know people are probably thinking about it as the China league, for example, but China's best players were like fucking Hulk and Oscar, for example. These guys are signing Cristiano Ronaldo. They're signing Mahrez, Kante, Benzema. Like it's definitely a different kettle of fish what Saudi are doing. Like China, for example, and MLS would never even target a player like Moussa Diaby, never even look in that direction, you know?
Yeah, it was a mad one when this one come out. I didn't know that Villa were interested in potentially like flirting with that either, Billy, because I thought it was a very good signing. I wanted him at Arsenal when he was at Leverkusen. I thought it was a hell of a signing. When he started last season, I thought, wow, he's one of the best players in the league. He just was unbelievable. But Ollie Watkins and Chelsea, I think that's going to be poo-pooed. I can't see Villa doing that, if I'm honest with you. No. Matty Cash available. And then there's another story at Villa today that I saw, but I can't remember what it is now. Oh, it was Joao Felix. So talk to me, man. What's happening at Villa? Like, you know, Emery, are you excited? Because at the moment, with Ross Barkley coming in, Douglas Luiz going out, with obviously a couple of players that you're linked with that have come in, but a couple of players going out or rumored to be leaving, like Diaby. Have you strengthened yet?
Yeah, I think we have, to be honest with you. Hang on, I've got it up here. Our signings so far this, hang on, where is it? I just lost it. Here we go. We've bought Cameron Archer back, Jaden Philogene back, two obviously quite highly rated youngsters. I think Cameron Archer's probably going to leave again at some point, or maybe he'll stay and be part of the Champions League squad and obviously get the
might as well keep him as, to be
honest.
It
gets the homegrown thing up as well, doesn't it? Obviously. But look, we've got Barkley, Samuel Illing Jr., Enzo Barrenechea, who's been fantastic so far in pre-season, really, really impressed. Ian Matson, Lewis Dobbin, Onana. Look, I do think we have upgraded, to be honest with you. And all of these players that we've brought in so far are under the age of, or are 23 and under, other than obviously Ross Barkley. But I think it's all been really, really good business from us, to be honest with you. And look, I am really excited to see where we can go and where we can finish this season.
I think Villa are going to be very interesting this season with Champions League football. Because you know what I think of Emery, and I think it didn't work for him at Arsenal, but I think since he's left us, he's proven how good a manager he is. And I think that it'll be an interesting one. Villa have got to look at squad depth now for me. And I think your midfield has definitely got enough quality in it. If you like, I actually think Ross Barkley's a very good signing for a free transfer. What he did last season, he was one of the signings of the season for Luton. So I think that's a good signing. I know Jacob Ramsey's flirting with a move to Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, you've got... Sorry, Potts. I don't think there's anything in that anyway. It's just a recycled. It's a recycled thing that keeps on coming up. I really don't think there's anything in that at all.
Because I rate Ramsey. I think he's
I do as well. And this is just what I was going to say as well. You mentioned squad depth, but we've got players like Morgan Rogers, who's just going to get better and better. You've got Ramsey, who's going to be competing with him. We've got Emi Buendia coming back, who was out all of last season with an ACL injury. We've got a lot of players that are coming back, and our squad looks really, really strong. Once we get everyone back injury-free and things like that, obviously we've got Kamara as well, who's going to be injured and who's going to come back around Christmas time. I think he'll probably start getting onto the grass. So for the second half of the season, we'll hopefully have him back. But when you look at the squad, we've got a really, really strong squad. And like I said, I'm just really excited to see where we can go under Emery and where he can take us to, because towards the end of last season we did struggle with a bit with injuries and that, and I don't think we're going to struggle as much as what we did. I really don't, with the players that we've bought in.
Yeah, I'm interested.
I'm going to say something crazy. And
go on, Salah.
I rate Villa more than Liverpool this year. I think the only teams that are clearer of Villa going into next year are Arsenal and Man City.
Wow,
that's genuinely what I believe. I think Arsenal and Man City are clearly and head and shoulders above everyone else in the Premier League. I think it's going to be those two for the league, and then after them, there's a big gap. But at the top of that second category, in my opinion, is Aston Villa. The first reason is because their new manager is an unknown commodity. We know exactly what Emery is going to do, and on top of that, you've given Emery all of these resources. He's building his team exactly how he wants to build it, because now he's got the confidence. Their squad is not like Newcastle's squad, who went into the Champions League unprepared. They've bolstered their squad. They've got players that can come in, and the quality won't drop as much. I know Diaby leaving might be a problem, because he was kind of an X factor at points last season. He was that player that can go to, and he's going to make something happen. But I think Aston Villa are in such a good position. Even if you look at it squad wise, I don't think Liverpool have much on them, because I think Salah's going to regret.
Oh, no, you flicked your mute on, bro. You flicked your mute on, Salah.
Sorry. All of these players that Liverpool have been counting on for the last couple of years, along with Klopp leaving, I don't think Liverpool are going to be as good next year, and Villa are only looking stronger.
Do you know what? You started off by saying I'm going to say something crazy, but you've backed up it, man. And I can't sit there and say that I disagree. I can't say that I agree or disagree, actually, is the right thing to say, because I don't know what we're going to get from Liverpool.
It's just I'm such a big believer in Unai Emery, and I've always
you've said you like
it. I genuinely believe that if Unai Emery had the backing that Arteta had, he could do something with Arsenal. It's just I feel like Arsenal weren't in a great position at the time. I feel like
it was a different regime as well.
It was exactly different Arsenal. It was like
coming straight after Wenger as well.
There was a little power struggle. And things have changed since then. I think I've always rated Unai Emery. I think he's a top coach, a top tactician, and he always seems to get results. Bro, he, like, the one game that stood out to me last season was Man City coming to Aston Villa, and that was the worst Man City I've seen in 4 or 5 years. And that wasn't because Man City were bad; it's because of how well Aston Villa played. They had their one shot on target, and I think that came in the 12th minute. And I think was that from a penalty or something? Was it?
It was Haaland had like a one-on-one kind of thing.
Had like a 0.1 XG, and that was in the first 10 minutes of the game.
They actually had 2 shots on target. One of them, I'm sure it was offside if it had have counted, but it was literally in that same passage of play. Like took the shot, cross came back in, Haaland headed it, Martinez save, and it was that header that I think was offside. But yes, that was literally it.
And Unai Emery now, with the players at his disposal, I think challenging for the Premier League is a long way away, right? But people are comparing this Villa team to Newcastle, and I think that's just unfair because Newcastle didn't do anything last transfer window when they got into. They kind of rested on their laurels. They said, you know what, we're going to get Tonali out, cool, 1 or 2 signings here and there, but Villa are really taking this by the scruff of the neck, and they've been fantastic in this transfer window.
What I'd say about Newcastle as well, though, to be fair to them, is obviously the injuries and things like that. Had they not have had so many injuries, I don't think they would have dropped off anywhere near as what they did. And look, they did end up in Europe, in the European places, didn't they? But obviously, Man United winning the FA Cup.
Yeah, if Newcastle would have had their squad, they would have been higher, in my opinion. But again, they've got to go and have a good window this season. I mean, keeping Isak and Bruno is going to be massive for them if they can do that.
They're probably the 2 best signings for them.
Mate, incredible, man. Incredible players. Listen, I want to come to a close, but I want to quickly ask panel on Arsenal. Always like to do that to see where you're at. Obviously, Salad, you're a big fan of Arteta and think that Arsenal are going to be in a title race. I'll start with you and then come to D and Billy as we close. Do you think Arsenal can do it this year, bruv?
I think with a few key additions, Calafiori is a good start. I think one more midfield or attacking option. I don't know what it is that's missing. Do you know what I'm trying to say? When you look at Arsenal, you think they've got almost everything, but then there's something missing. And if you can get that something, I don't see much difference between Arsenal and Man City, man. In terms of competing. Maybe they have a better squad, but I think Arteta raises the level of every player that Arsenal have. I think Arsenal can do it, man. And Arteta realizes the foundation of every title-winning team ever is a good backline. And investing in a player like Calafiori is going to be a positive for Arsenal. And they can do it, man.
I hope so, man. D, you're going to clearly disagree. What are you saying, bruv?
I mean, Arteta's improved the squad, but Arteta's also had a lot of excuses as well along the way. I had this debate on the other day on Saeed's channel, and I mean, with Arsenal fans, I do get slated for this, but there's always the excuse that we haven't won the league because it's Pep, but the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League, the European trophies, and the league, that gets ignored. So Arteta's still got a lot to prove in terms of winning stuff. So I know the Arsenal squad with Calafiori, I think is a good signing. There is that still missing pieces for me, and we'll see if Arsenal complete that. But I don't know. I feel like the football's there, but in terms of actually delivering, Arteta hasn't really shown it so far. One FA Cup in the last 5 years. I mean, Man United had one of the worst seasons in their history, and they still finished with a trophy. They still managed to get a job done. So for me, Arteta needs to prove himself before I can say that Arsenal can win the league, because we've been here before. Last 2 seasons, Arsenal have been competing, but always something happens. Whether the December run, whether the April run, like there's always something along the way. And winners will get the job done and be consistent in the big games. And Arsenal have crumbled in the big moments. So as much as he's improved the players, I feel like there's still something that he needs to prove, because I don't know whether I believe at this point. I thought Arsenal would have won it last year. But then, of course, things change, and then maybe the year before might have been too early. But last year, what's the excuse? I mean, these players are now experienced. I know they're young, but there's some good experience there, and still didn't get it done. So I need to wait and see.
I thought the thing with Arsenal last year is they had as perfect the second half of the season as you can have. Like, I think they dropped 4 points in the entire second half of the season, which is unheard of, and they still I feel like it's just unfortunate. But they've got to put it together. The season before that, they had the incredible first half of the season. Last year, they had a good second half of the season. You got to kind of find your balance, and you can't start slow.
They lost against, like, what was it? The Fulham game, the West Ham game.
Like from January onwards.
It was the Villa game.
I know they had a great second half of the season. It's the Dubai trip that changed them. But before the Dubai trip, I mean, they had that run, and that's what cost them the league. End of the day, I mean, City still managed to get the job done. For me, as I said, there's always a moment in the season where Arsenal would lose it. I hear that. Until Arteta actually prove himself and win something. Because look, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, I mean, I haven't seen Arsenal even do well in those competitions. I know Arteta won it in his first season, but in the last 5 years, for me, Arteta, in terms of winning, I mean, he's a very good coach in terms of coaching and getting the best out of the place, but winning is different. Winning is that final bit of piece that's the biggest thing about, these top clubs, but he hasn't proven himself yet that he's a winner. He's a very good coach, but yeah, the winner side of things, I mean, certain coaches, they might play boring football, but they'll still win. But Arteta, I don't know. He hasn't proven himself.
No, I hear that, man. Billy, I'll let you close on this, man. Where are you at with Arsenal? And if we can't win the league, what sort of signings would give you the confidence that we can? Like, what areas of the pitch?
If it stays how it is now, say Calafiori comes in and that's it, then I think you'll be there again competing. But I still think you missed that. I think you missed that goal scorer, to be honest with you, or the player. Certainly a Saka replacement. Not so much a replacement, but someone who can push him. And when Saka needs to come off, you've not got that massive drop in quality, if you know what I mean. So you need that Saka cover, but I also think you need a striker, like a proper striker who it's a tough game. Who do you turn to get that goal? You know that X player is going to be there, whether it's an Ivan Toney or someone like that. I still feel like you need that striker who will come up with the goal when you really need it, if you know what I mean. So I think that's the main. They're the main two. If you get them, then I think you'll be in the best position you've been to go and do it. Because you look at what you did last season, like Salah just said, like the end of the season was, or the second half of the season was as perfect as you could possibly get, really. And you still didn't do it. It's just, these are the fine margins. And I think had Trossard have scored that point blank goal against Martinez, then it's a different game. Maybe you do go on and win it. You know, it's these fine margins. And I think those two additions as well will just be enough to kind of tip you over the edge. Whether you do it or not is still, I mean, it's still Man City at the end of the day. This is what I was saying last year on the show as well. When we had 10 games to go, it was in Arsenal's hands, this, that, and the other. I was just saying, wasn't I? It's still Man City. It's still Man City. Man City just somehow managed to find a way to always do it. Yeah, but I think if you do get those two additions, I think it will just be that, and I just think it will be enough. But like I say, it's still Man City.
It is, mate, and they're the ones to beat for sure. Listen, we're going to come to a close. Absolute pleasure having all of you on. Big up to Lawless as well. Make sure you go follow at the Lawless. Make sure you go follow at AV Billy. Make sure you go follow D Palace and Back of the Nest podcast, and make sure you're following Mohamed Salah on socials as well. Salah, just quickly, Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia, are they both leaving Napoli?
Kvaratskhelia is signing a new contract. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Osimhen might leave, but no one wants to buy him. As in, no one wants to pay the price. And you know it's impossible to negotiate with Napoli, so they're both staying. And Osimhen's camp have come out recently and said, listen, we don't mind staying, because Conte seems to have everyone, you know, like everyone that wanted to leave before because atrocious last season. On the same page. They don't mind staying anymore. So every agent's coming out apologizing. Kvaratskheilia's dad came out and apologized. Like Kvaratskhelia is definitely staying at 100%. There's no two ways about it.
Interesting, man. We'll see what happens with PSG.
He's got 4 years left on his contract. He's got no bargaining chip whatsoever. The best thing for him to do would be to sign a Napoli contract extension, get triple his money, and then leave in about a year or two. Because there's no way Napoli sell you 4 years left in your deal. No way.
Well, he's a baller, man. He was so good in the Euros as well. I can't lie. Georgia really impressed me. I thought they were one of the best teams. It's like a surprise package.
But people talk about those two. My most impressive Napoli player and the most important Napoli player for me is Lobotka. And people watched him for Slovakia in the Euros, and he's the most important player for Napoli. If he's there, I think we always have a chance.
That's very interesting, man. Make sure you go check that out. Listen, people, been an absolute pleasure. As always, make sure you go follow all of these guys and do me a favor and hit the like button and the subscribe for this. We're on our way to 30K. That is the next target. So make sure we're hitting them buttons, people. Listen, I'll be back tomorrow. You know when, bright and early in the morning, 8:30, transfer talk. We'll see you then. Take it easy. And as always, up the Arsenal. Laters.